Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the August Recreational Astronomy Night of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada's Toronto Centre. My name's Tom Luton. I'll be your host for the evening. Tonight, we're online only, not because of storms, not because of bad weather, but because the National Bank Tennis Open is going on at York University. The parking lots are full to capacity, and our AV crew would not have been able to get through the door. So we had to switch to an online only format. So we'll chalk this up as something unusual. Astronomy meeting postponed online because of tennis. Anyway, this evening we have The Sky This Month by Dennis Gray. And then I'm going to be announcing the winners of the Toronto 2024's Center Awards. And then Dennis will be back for another presentation at the end, Astrid in Action. And then I will wrap things up with the announcements. So without further ado, let's get going. Dennis, take it away.
Great. Thank you very much, Tom. And welcome to The Sky This Month for August 2025. We'll take a look at what we have planned and carry on from there. Whoops. Tested everything except advancing the slides. There we go. And come on, slide advancement. Go down. Interesting. I haven't seen this problem before. This is a new problem. Slideshow. I'm going to just stop and play again. It's giving me a negatory on something. What is going on? There's what I'm looking for. Okay, pardon me. Okay, that is very unfortunate. I am going to switch to a backup way of looking at a presentation because that is, for whatever reason, not working for me. And wow.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to fun facts for a few moments while we try and troubleshoot Dennis's technical problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're having some technical problems. We've tried. Dennis is trying to give the old turning it on and turning it off again. So while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and do the 2024 Rask Toronto Center Awards. So we had our open house and awards picnic on the weekend of the 26th, and so the announcement was made in person there and also has been made on our forum. But here's an opportunity for those of you who may not have been able to attend to hear who are our winners. And these people have worked really, really hard and deserve recognition. So to start off with, the Andrew Elvins Award for 2024. So on April 8th of last year, a total solar eclipse crossed North America, passing through southern Ontario for the first time in a century. And members of the Rask Toronto Centre scattered across the continent to observe this rare event. Many of us stayed in Ontario, but some of us went as far south as Texas and as far east as Newfoundland. But regardless of where they were, Toronto Centre members acted in the best tradition of the society and helping members of the general public observing the event safely and helping people understand exactly what was going on. So on roadsides, in parking lots, in empty fields across a large part of eastern North America, the Toronto Centre was hard at work. And for all of this naturally occurring outreach, the Andrew Elvins Award in 2024 is thereby awarded to the Toronto Centre Solar Eclipse Observers for their outreach efforts across North America, helping members of the public observe the April 8th, 2024 solar eclipse. The Bertram J. Topham Award for 2024. This is the Observers Award. For many years, Frank Dempsey has been monitoring variable stars, recording sunspots and planets, and has taken part in the Isabella Williamson's Lunar Observing Program, Deep Sky Gems, and various observing projects from the Astronomical League, including the Herschel 400. For his hard work, the 2024 Bertram J. Topham Award is presented to Frank Dempsey in recognition of his multiple complete and ongoing observing projects. The Ray Thompson Award for Imaging. In October of 2024, the Journal of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada published on its back cover an image of the Rosette Nebula in the constellation of Monoceros. This photo was taken using an 80 mm telescope under Bortle Class 9 skies. For those of you joining us who may not be fully familiar with either of those two, an 80 mm telescope is on the small side, and Bortle Class 9 skies are pretty poor in terms of light pollution. Um, Calling it doing a marathon on a sprained ankle might not be too much of an exaggeration. In any case, the Rask Toronto Centre would like to join the journal in recognition of this image, and we'd like to award the 2024 Ray Thompson Award to astrophotographer Claudio Oriani. The Ostrander Ramsay Award for astronomical writing. For the last few years, Night Sky Almanac, a month by month guide to North America's skies from the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, has been published annually. This series of books has only grown in popularity over the years, with the 2024 edition placing in the top 25 astronomy books sold on Amazon.ca. To put it in context, it was 24th. 25th place belonged to some guy named Stephen Hawking. And in recognition of her writing success, the Rask Toronto Centre is pleased to present the 2024 Ostrander Ramsay Award to author Nicole Mortellaro. The Charlene Nordgrave Award for 2024. A long-standing tradition at every recreational astronomy night has been the sky this month. Presented at the start of each meeting, it is a look at the events occurring in the night sky in the time until the next RAM, covering solar, lunar, planetary, satellites, double stars, and other events. It is hosted by a rotating number of presenters. In 2024, the entire year was handled by just 3 members. And so the 2024 Charlene Nordgrove Award is presented to Andy Beaton, Arnold Brody, and Claudio Oriani for their work in researching, writing, and presenting the sky this month. The Jesse Ketchum Award for astronomical Hardware. At Stellafane in 2024, Clayton Davies entered his homemade 10-inch f6 Dobsonian in the optical and mechanical categories. He won twice, coming in first place in both mechanical design and craftsmanship. In recognition of this feat, the RAS Toronto Centre awards the 2024 Jesse Ketchum Award to Clayton Davies for his homemade 10-inch f6 Dobsonian. And last but certainly not least, the H.A. Winnerls Award, commonly called the President's Award. As you may recall, in June 2024, the Ontario Science Centre was closed down without warning, making the Toronto Centre homeless and lacking not only a meeting place but a legal address. The Science Centre was literally our home. And it was at this moment that Second Vice President Dr. Elena Hyde stepped in, finding us meeting space and access to the facilities of York University, as well as a new official home. The Restaurant Center presents the H.A. Winnerls Award to Dr. Elena Hyde in recognition of her help and hard work during one of the Toronto Center's neediest moments. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2024 award winners for the Toronto Center. Thank you very much to all of you for your amazing hard work and your contributions to the Toronto Center. And now we'll head over for fun facts while we flip back over to Dennis.
All right, thanks very much, Tom, and apologies again for technical difficulties. I've never had PowerPoint let me down that much, but I guess that is what happens sometimes. So the sky this month, looking at the period starting today, August 6th, going through till September 3rd. As usual, I'll start with the big picture where we are sort of in the big scheme of things. Talk about some highlights, some special events this month, suggest some targets, and then a couple of projects that I think may be worthwhile for people to engage in. And at the end there, I'm going to ask questions, but also suggestions. So if anyone is aware of anything that I don't cover during the presentation, by all means, jump in on the chat and remind us all of some other good things that we can enjoy as the summer sky is at its best this time of year. So the big picture, first of all, so we have a couple of planetary clumps going on here in the night sky. So this is our overview of the night sky from the northern hemisphere. This is the sun when it sets. This is the sun when it rises. And you can see here that we have one clump, which is Saturn and Neptune, which are very, very close right now. In fact, in the same binocular field of view, and you can easily jump from Saturn to Neptune and back again by spotting Saturn. So it's never been easier to find that dim outer planet than it is right now, and it's roughly directly below Saturn at this time. So that's the one clump. The other big clump is Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury in the early morning sky, and we'll talk a lot more about that later on. Uranus is pulling ahead of Neptune in their slow dance here. So it's in the early morning sky. It's close to the Hyades. So later in the fall and winter, we'll be talking about how close Uranus is to the Pleiades. But right now, that's pretty early in the morning, and so probably unobservable for most of us. And then Mars is still visible in the evening sky. Mars itself is pretty small and telescopically not very interesting, but you can definitely spot it. It's relatively close to the bright star Spica, so you can use that as a way to find it. But it's heading into the evening twilight. At this time of year, as the nights are getting longer, the evening twilight is a bit extended each night. So there's a bit of a race between Mars getting closer and closer to the sun and our evenings getting longer and longer. So it will be visible for about the next couple of months or so, give or take. And then, of course, right down in the south, especially as the sun rises, we have all the fun constellations that make up the summer sky. So let's take a deeper look now. So, in terms of the time, so we're heading towards the equinox, which is around September 20th, 21st. And at this time of year, things are starting to accelerate. So around the June, we had long days, short nights, and things didn't change very fast, but now it's starting to pick up. So right now, astronomical twilight, which is when things really get dark outside, starts in the evening and goes till 5 in the morning. The night is about 6.5 hours long. We're losing about 2.5 minutes of daylight a day, but by September 3rd, for the next sky this month, astronomical twilight will be full a bit further. I think that should say 8:30 p.m. And the night length will be 7.5 hours. So quite a bit of a change there, and we'll be losing 3 minutes of daylight a day, gaining a full hour of time for astronomy, which is kind of nice. Just in terms of visually seeing this, you can see here from the sun graph, which is timeanddate.com. You can see how the astronomical twilight period is sort of moved up as we get into August, September versus where we were at the solstice. So small rate of change here, much faster rate of change in September, and it maximizes around this time and then slows down again as we get towards the end of the year. So the planets this month, so we covered this a little bit on the big picture, but Mercury is coming into visibility starting in mid to late August. So this is a fair apparition in the morning sky, and so Mercury will be pretty magnitude. So if you've got a nice clear horizon, you'll be able to see Mercury fairly easily starting around the 20th of August. The big, beautiful opportunity, though, is Venus and Jupiter. So there's going to be an excellent conjunction Tuesday, August the 12th, and they'll be less than a degree apart. That happens to be the same night as the Perseid meteor shower, so you can add staying up late and into the morning to see Venus and Jupiter as part of your Perseid plans. Saturn and Neptune, they're in conjunction right now, rising around midnight. They're reaching August 21st, so that's when they'll be closest to the Earth, brightest and easiest to spot. But definitely really close to that now. It's not that much further before they'll be right there. Anyway, in terms of the moon, we're heading right into sort of a bad full moon weekend. You can see here, this is the moon phase for the Perseids. So the Perseids are going to be really fighting this moon all night long, and it's going to wash out the Perseids pretty thoroughly this year, unfortunately. You can see, but the important thing is to look away from the moon. So the moon, when it's that bright, will kind of wash out a large swath of the sky towards the south. So what you want to do is basically turn your back on the moon and look towards the north and west to get to see the darkest part of the sky, and watch for the Perseids that will be passing through there, rather than trying to fight the moon, because it's a bit of a losing battle at this time of the year. Next lunar eclipse that'll be visible from Toronto is March 3rd next year. So we'll leave that for another sky this month, but there's no other visible lunar activity. There is a lunar eclipse coming up on September 7th, but that one is actually going to be happening America. So that will be in Europe and other places like that. All right. So we mentioned the Perseid meteor shower. So it's peaking Tuesday, the 12th. Talked about the lunar interference. Just so you know where it's coming from, this is the constellation Perseus. It's on the rises in the east, and you can see the distinct star pattern with the 3 bright stars there. and Capella follows it, which is also a very bright star in the Pleiades. So that's the general direction that they will appear to come from. But as I mentioned, you don't want to try and look at it directly. You want to try and work with it happening there. And also the highlight, of course, is the summer Milky Way. So lunar interference that I was talking about early this month is also going to be interfering with the summer Milky Way, washing it out and making it very, very difficult to see. The best time to see the Milky Way is going to start around the 17th or so of the month, when the moon is more or less out of the way during the early part of the evening, and so the Milky Way will be able to be seen much more easily. So 2 weeks of August are when you can look forward to seeing the summer Milky Way. There's another highlight this month is a shadow transit of Titan. So we have another one coming up, which is Tuesday, August the 19th. This is a simulation from the sky showing Titan here and its shadow on Saturn as a dot. So that begin around 2 in the morning, reaching the midpoint of Saturn around 4 o'clock, and then ending right around sunrise around 6 a.m. I think, as others have mentioned, these transit series only occur when the edge on to us, so that the shadows of Saturn's moons will actually cast on the planet. And the last 3 opportunities for this particular apparition will occur in September and October, and then they will be done for another 15 years or so. One of the cool things is that one of our members, where did it go? Hang on a second here. Under the topic on our here is Titan shadow transits. Nish caught the transit with his telescope and created a video of it, which is really nice. So this is C8 at high magnification, and it's pretty obvious. You can see the transit just scooching along there. It's a bit low. It's expected later in August, but this is a terrific video here. And one of the things that's interesting, if you compare that with the video or the view from the sky's shadow is kind of not artificial, in the sense that it doesn't really represent the way it looks. What it looks like is quite a much bigger dark spot on Saturn. So congratulations on that excellent picture. And you can also see, again, the rings are very, very close to edge on to us. They're just starting to open up again as it goes into that next part of its orbit around the sun. So encourage everyone to get on the discourse forum. It's a benefit of membership. You just have to log into the RAC Toronto website and click on forum, and you can get involved with conversations and information that's related to the center. All right, moving right along. There's also another event, which is I call the morning traffic. So we're expecting to see kind of all of these participants being joined by the waning crescent moon between August 19th and the 21st. So they're still up there, not as close as they will be on the 12th. Be heading back towards the sun as it goes towards superior conjunction. Mercury will be rising, and crescent moon will be coming down as it comes there, plus the bright side stars of Gemini. So just to give you an idea of what that would look like, I need to launch another app. My apologies. Coming up. There we go. So if we skip ahead to the 19th here, and we change it up to like 5 in the morning and go looking east, so here's the moon, Jupiter, and Venus all nicely together. And as we move forward one day, To the 20th, the moon kind of forms a nice little triangle with Jupiter and Venus. I'll just there. So we've got this really nice triangle.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to switch to fun facts for a moment. We've got a technical issue here.
But it seems like trying to show you that live with the planetarium software is not a good idea, so we're not going to do that again. Normally, in time, I would like to show you some of the best ISS opportunities to see it over tonight. However, I've invested, and visible passes will not resume until August 18th. And when they do resume, they will be morning appearances all month long. The next chance we have for evening passes will be around September 8th. And so at that time, I expect that we will have the next person doing the sky this month will tell you more about catching ISS over Toronto. Um, One question though is, can you catch an ISS transit? Because you can see those during the day. And I've looked at those for this month as well. And I found an excellent one, which was right over downtown Toronto, going straight over the sun, happened about 3 hours ago. So we won't be able to plan to observe that because it's too late. The website you want though is transit-finder.com, and that website will calculate for you when the ISS is expected to pass in front of the moon or the sun, allowing you to set up for an observing run where you can, using safe solar filters or a suitable telescope, catch the ISS flitting across the sun or the moon, depending on the time of day and the night. So that's a cool thing to do. The moment the best opportunity is just past us, but certainly make a note of that website and see if you want to deal with that. So just in terms of the core constellations that we have, so one of the things that is very noticeable, of course, this time of year is we have the summer triangle. That's the big asterism of the year. So it's Deneb in Cygnus, Vega in Lyra, and Aquila Altair in Aquila, the constellation Aquila there. So those three bright stars, they're bright enough that they punch through even Toronto, and often are used when you're aligning your telescope and so forth. So when that is high in the sky, we are also seeing Ophiuchus and the stars of Sagittarius rising during the course of the summer. So some of the key constellations this time of year, obviously Lyra with the double-double, the Ring Nebula, Sagittarius with its surplus of open clusters, globular clusters, star-forming regions, all kinds of good stuff in and around Sagittarius. Cygnus is best known for Alberio, the lovely double star there, but also if you can get to a dark site towards the end of August, you'll see the dark lanes and the rifts of dust that divide up the constellation Cygnus and help us with that. Also, Hercules is near its best. It's quite high as the evening begins. Great opportunity if you're interested in taking in M13 or taking photographs of it. I mentioned the Great Rift in Cygnus. This is a great binocular target. So you can see here how it starts right around Deneb in Cygnus, and you can follow it down all the way pretty well through to Ophiuchus. This represents basically a giant dust lane which is blocking the stars behind it, and it's easiest to see with binoculars. And if you scroll back and forth across the area there, you can see the areas where those dust lanes are. A lot of those dust lanes have names and designations. Bernard was an astronomer who cataloged a lot of dark nebula. So early in the age of astronomical photography, long exposure photographs were taken, and it made these dark nebula very obvious. And so he was able to group them and identify individual patches and so forth that you can see again with binoculars. One of my favorite activities this time of year. Another target is the Sagittarius star cloud. This is basically a window through the dust of the Milky Way. So in the sense that we talk here about the Great Rift is representing a large dust rift there, M24 is actually a little window that allows us to actually see through all that dust to another spiral arm of the galaxy. And when you're looking at stars in there, you're looking to stars up to 15,000 light years away, which is pretty cool. To spot that M24 star cloud, you would start with the teapot of Sagittarius and pretty well kind of go straight up with binoculars. You'll see M17 and M18, M25, M23, that kind of boundaries that whole area. And then if you look there, you will see a noticeable deepening of the sky where you see so many more stars in that specific special area. And it's really cool to know that you're looking through basically towards another and a completely separate part of the galaxy that we can't see pretty well anywhere else. Looking towards center of our galaxy, that's the best window that we have, and there's nothing else quite like it. Other targets this time of year, beautiful open clusters M6 and M7. These are clusters that are kind of like, for people that south, they're like the Pleiades are to us. So these are wide open, bright open clusters. They're a bit diminished by being close to the southern horizon. It's still very well worth a look with binoculars or a small telescope. M8, of course, is a beautiful emission nebula. Lots of great globular clusters available this time of year as well. Like going back here, you can see M23, M25, M22, and M21. All of these are globular clusters that you can take in open. Don't forget M9, all within a very easy reach of the Sagittarius. One of my favorite areas to look at through the sky. Another target that everyone should be continuing to keep an eye on is T Corona Borealis. This is an extreme variable star, which has been expected to go boom in the near future now for almost 18 months, 24 months. So it's still quite possible that it could go into outburst. It's starting to set. It's still pretty high as the sunset, so it's worth keeping an eye on it. And what you're looking for, Corona Borealis forms this C shape, where it's kind of like a little crown or a tiara shape. And what you're looking for is a bright star that would appear kind of off the side here, and that's T Corona Borealis. There's an excellent chart for this available from the AAVSO, which shows that variable star and how you would be able to spot it if you were looking. And you can get measurements here so you can see how bright it could end up being. But in outburst, in the historical outburst, it's been second or third magnitude depending on the year. And it basically goes boom about once every 50 to 60 years or so. And it has been showing signs of getting ready to go boom, but it's kind of like it's going to do it whenever it decides to and not before. But it's definitely worth keeping an eye open. When you're out, just give Corona Borealis a quick check and see if there's a new star there. And that's it for the sky this month. This is a picture of our most smoky night from the CAO recently, and pretty accurately.
Okay, thank you very much, Dennis. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry about some of the technical glitches. Do we have any questions for Dennis?
No, there are no questions online. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Betty. All right then, folks. So we're going to go to fun facts for a little bit while we switch over for Dennis's next presentation. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so we're back, and our next, sorry here, apologies. So, and we're back, and Dennis is back as well, and his talk is Astrid in Action. Take it away,
Okay.
Dennis.
All right. Thank you very much, Tom. Tonight we're doing a follow-up on now. And in that presentation, I think it was in March or April, we introduced Astrid as a new tool that simplified and greatly improved the occultation. The things that I promised Tom was that we come and review that Astrid and show you exactly how it acquired and processed an actual asteroid occultation for everyone to review. So the goals that we set out for this was to essentially show you the process of identifying a good event, setting up Astrid, running Astrid in its sort of fully automatic mode, recording those results, and then some of the highlights of processing the results to pull out the actual occultation. Because what you're looking for, of course, is the actual time where it's going to go down, it's going to come back up, and that precise identification of the disappearance and reappearance is where everything comes from. So the first step, of course, was to identify the event that I would use to prepare this presentation with. So I needed to find an event that's reasonably bright. It has to be able to be pulled in from Toronto. For my home, it's best that it's in the east or southeast because that's where I have a clear horizon. Ideally before midnight because I like to go to bed at a reasonable time. Starting around July 1st, which was when Tom and I agreed that we were going to do this presentation. And so the results so far have been smoke, cloud, vacation in Manitoba, other things, etc. So we're going to now do a presentation called Month-Denis G8 Upgrade with Astro Gadget. So, and we will maybe do Astrid in action another time. Next agenda. So we'll do a little back introduction to this, talk about the backstory of the Lost Mandy, talk about decisions, talk a little bit about who is Astro Gadget and why would you want to know about it, show the upgrade and do a quick demonstration for everyone, and then we'll have some questions on that. So the introduction. Imagine the voice of Oscar Goldman. GM8, mid-weight equatorial mount, a mount barely functional. Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's first bionic telescope. GM8 will be that telescope, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. Cue the music. Thank you, Andrew, the music. Okay, anyway, sorry, hopefully that was amusing to us all and a harken back. So the Lost Mandy GM8 that the center owns was a donation from the Walker estate. It came to us about 15 years ago. It's an excellent mount mechanically, and the Lost Mandy mounts, for those of you that don't know about them, allows for push to pointing while offering a sidereal equatorial EQ drive that will and also allows for guiding corrections using hand control that comes with it. When it was originally obtained, it was provided with encoders in a Sky Commander digital setting circles unit, which was state-of-the-art technology in the late 1990s. And it was an option for members to use at the CAO, but was really never being used there. So earlier this year, the GM8 was declared surplus, and so I took it upon myself on behalf of the CAO folks to try to find a market for this mount. And we were basically faced with kind of two options here. One was sell it as is, so it's a nice mount, it works, but it doesn't track anymore, and it doesn't have any kind of go-to capability. Or we could try to sell it updated with some kind of go-to system. So I looked into what options might be there, including also like rather than just go to, but also like just could we fix existing tracking. And what I found was that the tracking elements, the buttons seemed to be pushing, but the motors were simply not responding anymore. So it was a bit outside of my capability. I looked into go-to options, and this particular mount has a drive system called Gemini 2, which is available as a retrofit kit. And I also found another option from this company called Gadget. So looking at these two options, the Losmandy option was kind of official. It's the most compatible, and people would expect if they were acquiring this kind of mount that they would get a Gemini 2 type of controller. It has a touchscreen hand control, which allows you to do various operations on it, and it does support a USB control. The Astro Gadget option was coming from a specialty supplier. It offered USB control, but it also offered Wi-Fi, which the Losmandy option did not offer, and it emulates as the common EQ mod setup. So when we talked about, or when I thought about this, do we sell it as is versus the upgrade? The my feeling is that the center would have to absorb a really significant discount on the unit, because if we're selling it as is and it doesn't work, it's really a do-it-yourself project that we're trying to sell. The modest cost of this Astro Gadget upgrade option made it a bit of a reasonable option for, and I'm happy to report that it's worked out well. So who is Astro Gadget? So Astro Gadget is an interesting Ukrainian-based supplier of astronomy products. So I was kind of surprised to see that it was shipping from Ukraine, but they're selling a number of different dinguses and who's it's for astronomy. So they have various Wi-Fi adapters, cables, focuser controllers, telescope, astrophotography accessories, dew heating straps, as well as a dark sky meter, a black sky meter that are being offered by them, and they are assembling them and putting them together, through their own shop. Things seem to be made to order. It takes about 5 to 7 days for something to be assembled and then shipped, but they've been very, very good to deal with. So if I just take this one moment to visit their website, so you can see here they have a number of different items here. So here are some of the things that are there. For example, there's a Wi-Fi adapter that allows you to connect to an Argo Navis with Wi-Fi. They have other ones for various Celestron and so forth. So again, these are all common sort of electronic gizmos, small boxes, and the prices are reasonable. They're in US dollars, so you have to be aware of it. And what we were here was these EQ control systems, and this was the one here for Losmandy. This was what caught my attention here, was this option here to upgrade and replace the go-to and drive system for the Losmandy mount. I found the technical support to be needed, but also pretty responsive. People got back to me within hours with answers to my questions, so I thought that was good. So what did the Losmandy upgrade involve? So first of all, we had to remove the old motors and the control box. That was pretty simple, and install the new motors that were provided. The motors had included a custom faceplate that adapts to the Losmandy mount. So it basically, you screw that on where the existing motors were, and then there are couplers included to connect. This would go on the Losmandy side, and then another coupler would go on the motor side. And they have these custom couplers, which I think a lot of us have already seen. They allow a certain amount of squilling together so that it takes off the stress, less backlash in the mount. So it's a point of that. And then the actual control box was attached to the original control point. Now, I'm just going to try and show you what that looks like so everyone will get an idea. I apologize in advance if this is a bit of an awkward situation, but hopefully it'll be worth it. Let's go. All right, so this is the Losmandy mount here, and you can see, I hope, the control box goes here and is attached to that, and then the motors themselves. I'll just show one of them here. Oops, wrong one. There we go. So that's the motor there being attached to the same point. So this is connected to the control box. So it's a very, very simple installation. It was easy to do and easy to confirm that it was working correctly. The Lost Mandy mount uses these clutches here to tighten up, but it never actually locks. So that's one of the things that's interesting about the Lost Mandy mount, is that it actually never actually locks the way some other mounts do. So there's always a bit of play there, and whoops, pardon me, and that's part of the process there. Okay, so I hope that wasn't too much of a mess for everybody, but we'll just do a quick demonstration here. So with the mount there, so I'm going to go and just go ahead and connect it, and the mount is recognized. Oops. As an EQ mod mount. So it's showing that the mount is parked now, and I can unpark that, and I can issue a simple go-to command. So I can just go ahead and put in Altair here, and click on Find and Slew, and away it goes. And again, I'll try and show it. And hopefully that's coming across okay. There we go. So and here you can see where the mount is tracking to. I'll just stop it because it's making a bit of a funny noise there. So, so overall, it's able to go to its target. It's able to plate solve and refine, and tracking and guiding is possible with this unit. So, still in the commissioning phases. Some of the things I've noticed is that the hand control is a very minimalist thing. It's about the size of a pack of gum, and it only has buttons that allow you to scope in different directions. There is a Wi-Fi option that allows you to connect to the mount without cables. You would turn that on or off depending on the settings there. And there's a motor parameter setting that you're able to actually potentially port to another scope. So you could actually pick up the unit, change the motor parameters, and put it on another scope. So if you were to decide at some point in time that you either want to go back to the old setup or something else, you could deal with that. And the Pro version, which is the one that's purchased here, has significant torque capabilities and amperage to allow you to drive fairly heavy mount or a fairly heavy setup, and it could be working with other things here. There's a less expensive one that would work with less formidable mounts, but that's not the case with this Lost Mandy. So we're hoping that this has given new life to an old mount, that we would be able to find a good buyer for it, find a good home for this mount for someone who would like to use it. It does seem to require good balancing of the scope, so that because of the way the clutches work and that slip clutch design, it's really important that the motors are not working too hard in order to get the most accuracy from the system. The go-to performance seems to be pretty satisfactory at the moment, based on what I've done so far. I do need to do a bit more testing, and hopefully it'll be ready to sell soon. So with that, I'll just sort of wrap up here. I'll show it's a little bit better with the secondary camera, but that didn't.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Do we have any questions from the audience, Betty?
No, we don't, unfortunately. Thank you.
Okay, then. Dennis, then thank you very much for both of the presentations, and we will flip over to the announcements to close out the evening.
Let's go to fun facts.
We're going to go to fun facts first, though. Okay, well, good evening again, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining us. We've got some announcements, so let's get through them. So, what you've just seen is one of our recreational astronomy nights in which members of the Toronto Centre will make presentations, talk about the sky this month, what's going on, what they've worked on, what they've seen, where they've been. And then starting up in September, our speakers night season starts again. And this is where a professional member of the astronomical community will come in and talk about what they've been working on and where they've been and what they've been down recently. For those of you joining us live on the YouTube chat, thank you. And ask some questions of presenters using the chat function. And if you're a new member joining us online, please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're coming from. So our next recreational astronomy night is September 3rd, hopefully at York University, assuming the tennis matches have ended. We are in the Petrie Science Building, room 317. The meeting will be in person and online. The speakers and presentations. Andy Beaton will be covering the sky this month. We have, at the moment, 2 empty spots, though one of them may have just been filled. I'll see. I have to check my email when this meeting's over. And yeah, and then afterwards we have telescopes set up on the observatory, on the parking lot of the parking structure to the south of the Petrie building to take a look at the sky. So please come out and join us. The Carswell Observatory, which is literally down the hall from where we meet, has observatory tours every Wednesday evening in the summertime. So you can get free tickets at the website here. And as I said before, we'll be doing there will be some telescopes set up on the Arboretum parking garage. For more info, drop a note to York University. So coming up this month in events, Millennium Square has free solar observing on August 9th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Come along to the shore of Lake Ontario and help take a look through some of the telescopes take a look at the sun. Hopefully we'll have some sunspots and some prominences to show you. Please check our website for a go, no-go decision. If it is pouring rain, the event is not going to happen, I'm afraid. Coming up at the DDO in the next few weeks. So on Saturday, August the 16th from 9 to 11 p.m. is Astronomy Family Night, Seven Sisters Observing the Pleiades. Registration fee is as seen here, and you can register online. The links can be found at raskto.ca or on the City of Richmond Hill website. Then on Sunday, August 31st at 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. is Sunday sun gazing. Again, registration fees as shown here, and you register online with the links at raskto.ca. Bayview the City Star Party at Bayview Village Park for members only is the first clear night of Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday of the week of August 25th. So August 25th, 26th, or 28th, that's first clear night and only clear night. So that if Wednesday is clear, or sorry, if Monday is clear, then we're not having anything happen on Tuesday, even if Tuesday is also clear. So please check out our website for a go no go decision based on the weather. A.m. to midnight. Join us for an evening of free public stargazing along the north shore of Lake Ontario, Millennium Square. Take a look at the sun before it sets, sunspots and prominences, and then take a look at the moon and the stars through our telescopes. We've got some astronomy literature at our info booth. Ask us some questions, and you can bring your own telescope, and we'll help you point it and aim it at the moon. Remember, things are a little cooler down by the lake. Please check our website for a go no go decision based on the weather before heading down to the square. The CAO is open. Access is available year round. Masking is optional. Please see the CAO bookings page for all the details. It was on our website. This is the part where I get to plug RASC membership. If you've enjoyed what you've seen this evening and you'd like to be a part of it, you can join us. Membership, you can sign up online at secure.rasc.ca. Gift memberships are also available at mempub@rasc.ca. The Toronto Centre runs on clean, renewable volunteer energy. If you're a RASC Toronto Centre member, you're interested in helping, and you've got some free time, please reach out. We would love to have you. We can find you a spot for many, many different places to work. Contact the volunteer coordination team at volunteer@rascto.ca. And with that, I'd like to wish you for joining us. Please follow us on all the forms of social media we've got listed here. Stay safe and keep looking up. Good night, everybody.